The Crusades were a series of ferocious and deadly wars that changed the course of history. Welcome, viewers, as we follow the journey of a certain statesman and military leader. This man dared to stand up to an army sworn to reclaim the Holy Land. He was such a military strategist that he abolished a state and built another from the ruins of its demise. Yes, I am talking about Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria. Comparing the geographical areas of the time, we can predict that he ruled what is now a significant portion of the Middle East. Sit back and relax as we delve into the history that this sultan made an impact upon. Now, Saladin was born in 1137 in Tikrit to a Kurdish family. The area Tikrit is now known to be in Iraq. Tikrit is situated on the Tigris River and is known for being the birthplace of several historical figures. An example of this would be Saddam Hussein, who served as the president of Iraq from 1979 until his overthrow in 23. How interesting. Saladin belonged to an Ayyubid clan, which was a Kurdish Muslim dynasty that played a significant role in the politics of the region during the medieval period. As much as I would like to continue talking about Saladin's early life, little is known. If you are interested in this mystical figure, then consider smashing that subscribe button, as we are only just getting into the good stuff. After you do that, leave a comment saying, "I subscribed," and I will be sure to reply to every single one of them. Your support does help me out a lot in my early YouTube career. It motivates me to carry on giving an audience something to be entertained by. Without further ado, let's continue. Jumping to 1169, Saladin had paved his way through various government positions. At this point in his life, he became the vizier of the Fatimid Caliphate in Egypt. Vizier means chief minister, for all those who were unsure. On a side note, if there is anything in this video that you find to be incorrect, then don't hesitate to leave a comment down below, and I will surely respond. As a new creator on this platform, I always make room for improvement. Anyways, this event marked the beginning of Saladin's rise to power. He began to engage in politics in the region. Let me give some context about the Fatimid Caliphate. It was a Shia Muslim caliphate that had its capital in Cairo, Egypt. For those who don't understand, there are two sects in Islam, Sunni and Shia. Sunni Muslims believe that Abu Bakr was appointed as the Prophet Muhammad's successor, whereas Shia Muslims believe that it was Ali who was chosen for this position. Abu Bakr was a close companion and the father-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad P.B. Ali was a cousin and son-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad B. This made me question if the reason Saladin abolished the Fatimid Caliphate in 1171 was due to a disagreement with the leadership of the Shia Muslims. What I discovered was that this was only part of the decision to abolish the caliphate. Other factors include political and strategic considerations. Ultimately, Saladin's main goal was to unify the Muslim territories under Sunni leadership and restore the Abbasid Caliphate in Cairo. This was a huge step for Saladin in terms of his reputation in the region. Not only was he known for abolishing a dynasty, but he was also known for his ambition to restore a state that ran under Sunni leadership. Why the Abbasid Caliphate was chosen for this, you ask? Well, this is because the caliphs in this dynasty were recognized by the majority of Sunni Muslims. If you are still with us, I am glad you find this interesting, and so do I. We have only talked about 3 stages of his life, and the actual topic of this video is yet to come up. Now we jump forward in time to the year 1174, 3 years after the establishment of the Ayyubid dynasty. This is when Saladin, now the Sultan of Egypt and Syria, defeated his first rival, thus solidifying his authority and increasing his reputation. This also set the stage for his role in the broader Islamic world. This rival of Saladin was known as the Zengid ruler of Aleppo, Nur ad-Din's son, as Salih Ismail. It was in the Battle of Hama where Saladin secured his control over the region. It is important for me to highlight a misconception that you may believe to be true. Saladin is seen as the one who established the Ayyubid dynasty. However, it was actually his uncle, Shirkuh, who established the dynasty in 1171. Saladin went on to become the ruler of Egypt and Syria while expanding his territories as far as Jerusalem. Saladin worked to centralize his rule, implementing administrative reforms to strengthen the authority of the Ayyubid state. He established a unified government structure that spanned both Egypt and Syria, emphasizing a more cohesive and coordinated administration. This goes to show how well of a strategist Saladin was at the time, as he was able to establish a more centralized and authoritarian government structure. He also faced various challenges, including internal dissension among his own generals and external threats from Crusader states. However, he skillfully navigated these challenges through strategic alliances and military campaigns, earning him a reputation as a skilled diplomat and military leader. Conquest after conquest, Saladin successfully captured key cities such as Aleppo and Mosul. His campaigns against the Crusaders in the Levant from 1E183 to 1E186 marked a significant chapter in the history of the Crusades. The Crusaders were solely focused on reclaiming the Holy Land. Saladin, who at this point had a role in the Islamic world, retaliated against them with the purpose of weakening them. Aleppo was a major stronghold, and by conquering it, Saladin increased his reputation and influence over the north of Syria. The siege of Mosul strengthened the Ayyubid dynasty and their position in the eastern part of the Islamic world. Saladin was known for his strategic military mind. His campaigns were characterized by a combination of careful planning, tactical brilliance, and effective use of diplomacy. He often sought to exploit divisions among his adversaries and forge alliances with local leaders to strengthen his position. Think about this for a second. Saladin succeeded in his campaigns by being smart with his moves. He didn't always need to fight the enemy face-on. Instead, he set them against each other. I believe the analogy for this is killing two birds with one stone. Saladin was patient and decisive in his actions. This goes to show that having patience really does go a long way. If you take anything from this video, make sure it is this. The reason why I am so passionate about history is because significant events like this have impacted the events of the present. For example, the development of medicine. If that interests you and you would like to see a video on that, then how about leaving a like for this video? That way you would be helping both of us. Anyway, Saladin was intelligent enough to deter enemies from attacking his territories and forming alliances to make the expansion easier. Yet, the biggest enemies he faced were the ones that embedded themselves into his government. Throughout history, we have seen that with every fallen government, there seems to have been corruption from within, slowly decaying it until it has been abolished. What kind of people cause this, you ask? To put it simply, it could be government officials betraying the office they serve, whether that is by giving away state secrets, using power for the wrong means, or by uniting with the enemies of the state. Societal decline and state failure are complex phenomena influenced by a combination of factors, including political, economic, social, and cultural elements. Corruption is seen as a significant factor, as it can undermine the rule of law, erode public trust in institutions, hinder economic development, and contribute to social inequality. However, other factors such as political instability, external pressures, economic mismanagement, conflicts, and natural disasters can also play crucial roles in the decline of a state. Now, as we travel further in time to the Battle of Hattin in 1E187, we realize how important this event was, as in the same year Saladin would go on to conquer Jerusalem. Now, this is his impact on history. This is what he was known for. This is when Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria, defeated Guy of Lusignan. There was already a great amount of tension between these two leaders. This was because of Saladin's main goal of reclaiming Jerusalem from the Crusaders, who had taken control since the First Crusade in 1E99. Let us talk about the organized army of the Crusaders. They consisted of troops from various states and were given different roles to play in battle. I am referring to their position on the battlefield, be that knights, infantry, or any other contingent. Now, don't get me wrong, being the one to outnumber another in war is definitely an advantage when a plan is executed carefully and correctly. Even if an army is gigantic, they can always fall due to arrogance and by underestimating the true power and commitment of the people they are facing against. The defeat of the Crusaders was a huge example of this. Now let's talk about the errors that this large Crusader army made. Firstly, they failed to secure reliable water sources before advancing, which meant that many soldiers from different ranks were affected by dehydration and exhaustion. To make matters worse, they were unknowingly led into a trap by Saladin, who had actually thought like a strategist and employed his men to higher ground, giving them an advantage because this made it difficult for the Crusaders to maintain a cohesive defense. Remember, folks, what sparked and energized these wars was religion. This became even more apparent when a relic of the Crusaders was believed to be in the possession of Saladin. This indefinitely demoralized the Crusader army and undoubtedly led to their defeat. When soldiers lose their morale, they forget about their will to fight and the ultimate reason as to why they are fighting in the first place. This is commonly used as a war tactic to defeat a much larger army. After the battle, Saladin's forces laid siege to the city of Tiberias, where the Crusader army had left its camp. The city eventually surrendered, leading to the capture of additional Crusader prisoners. Now, what you have all been waiting for, the fall of Jerusalem. With the Crusader forces significantly weakened, Saladin advanced and laid siege to Jerusalem. The city, facing dire circumstances, surrendered to Saladin in October 187. The fall of Jerusalem had profound implications, as it was a major blow to the Christian world and triggered widespread reactions in Europe. This encouraged other Christian leaders to retaliate against Saladin. In fact, the Third Crusade was a response to the conquest of Jerusalem. This was during the years 189 to 192. The people known to be involved in this series of attacks was Richard I, known as Richard the Lionheart. He was a skilled military leader and the King of England. He had a reputation for martial prowess and leadership. Philip Roman II, also known as Philip Augustus, was the King of France. He joined Richard the Lionheart in the Third Crusade, although their relationship was marked by tensions and rivalry. Frederick I, also known as Frederick Barbarossa, was the Roman emperor. He led a large German army during the early stages of the Third Crusade, but died in 190 before reaching the Holy Land. This was a significant setback as the German army hesitated to continue traveling to the Holy Land upon hearing this. It was Frederick's son that led a portion of the army. The Crusader forces achieved some successes, such as the capture of the coastal city of Acre in 191. However, they faced challenges, including logistical issues, disease, and internal conflicts among the Crusader leaders. The Crusaders went on to win a few battles, but this didn't mean that they would win the war, as they failed in reclaiming Jerusalem. The battles they won were the battles of Acre and Arsuf. The Crusaders were unable to capture Jerusalem as Richard the Lionheart realized the challenges of maintaining control over the city and negotiated a truce with Saladin in 192. This led to the Treaty of Jaffa, which was signed between Richard the Lionheart and Saladin in 192, allowing Christian pilgrims access to Jerusalem. The city remained under Muslim control, but the treaty brought a temporary end to major hostilities. Following the signing of the treaty, Richard the Lionheart returned to Europe. The Third Crusade did not achieve its primary goal of recapturing Jerusalem, but it had lasting effects on the geopolitics of the region. The Third Crusade, while not completely successful in its primary objective, demonstrated the military prowess of Richard the Lionheart and the challenges of conducting a prolonged campaign in the complex political landscape of the Holy Land. The treaty negotiated with Saladin marked a pragmatic resolution to the conflict, allowing for a degree of coexistence between Christian and Muslim forces in the region. If you made it this far, then how about subscribing to the channel to keep up to date with our latest videos?